Hello everyone, welcome to our Mikskaar Academy. Today we are going to have an interview with the head of Plant Health and Microbiology Laboratory from Agriculture Research Center, Helena Lasner. She has been a great external partner helping Mikskaar to investigate and test everything that helps us to improve our quality in substrates. We have cooperated for more than 15 years, and I found first samples. I've arrived at the laboratory in 2006. Welcome, Helena. What exactly does the Agricultural Research Center do? What is the main purpose of the institution?
Well, hello. Thank you for inviting me to this academy. It's a pleasure. I try, as English is not my not first or second language, then I try my best. But the Agricultural Research Center is an institution which is administrated by the Estonian Ministry of Rural Affairs. And the center involves in different laboratories, also field testing and different departments which are dealing with environmental monitoring, analysis of rural economy, and also rural networking. The vision of Agricultural Research Center is to be a competent center for agriculture analysis and field testing, and also a reliable partner for designing the agriculture and rural development policy. So the laboratory is only one part of our activities, but a very important part.
There are many tests you are doing, but I want to ask personally from you that you are the head of department called Plant Health and Microbiology Laboratory. What are the fields your department is responsible for?
First of all, we are the national reference laboratory in Estonia in plant health area. We are also the quarantine center, national quarantine center, and we are responsible of detection plant parasitic bacteria, insects and mites, fungi and oomycetes, nematodes, viruses, viroids, phytoplasmas. But we also have a classical microbiology part, and we do analysis from plant products, feedstuff, compost, and soil. And as a microbiology, we analyze different bacteria, yeasts, molds, and also we have general toxicity analysis. And we have a very interesting microorganism collection, which we are preserving. And in this collection, we actually even have some mushrooms that you can plant in your garden. And we also sell the mycelia to customers if they are interested.
Oh, very interesting information. I didn't know that. So we here in Mikskaar, we prepared some questions for you because we have got many questions abroad. We are selling globally our products, substrates and peat moss, and we regularly let your department to test our products. And I would like to invite now here the next person who's asking a question.
Hello, Helena. It is very nice to meet you at this academy. And my question would be, what parameters can you test when it comes to peat moss?
Well, mostly I will talk about my laboratory because I know that actually some other laboratories in our institution are also analyzing your samples. But in plant health and microbiology laboratory, we can analyze different bacteria. Classical microbiological analysis for Listeria monocytogenes, Enterobacteriaceae, coliform bacteria, also Escherichia coli, Salmonella, different molds and funguses from peat. and also nematodes, insects, and seed weeds. But the agrochemistry laboratory also does some analysis like moisture, organic matter, electrical conductivity, and trace elements. So this is also important.
Thank you. And can you please tell me why the peat moss sometimes has a peculiar smell? Is it harmful to plant growth?
Well, mostly it's not harmful for plants, but this smell indicates that maybe the conditions have not been the best. The bacteria and funguses, they are they feel very comfortable in a warm and moist environment where is not enough of air supply. So in these conditions, microorganisms that are actually naturally in soil or also in peat, they start to multiply, and this this can cause this smell. But also not only bacteria and funguses are found naturally from peat or soil samples.
Thank you, Ave. I will let now Christina to ask her questions.
Hello. I would like to ask, or maybe you can explain that, what are the different reasons why the bad smell occurs in peat moss, especially when it's packed, and how to get rid of it or to make it to disappear?
Well, sometimes in certain temperatures, the water that is naturally inside the peat, it conducts between peat and the plastic wrapping, and it creates conditions that allow fungal growth. The bad smell often resembles a rotten egg, and it's just indication that maybe there is some moisture and bacteria and funguses in moist environment immediately start growing and spreading, and it spoils. Well, it smells. How to say? The water that is inside the packaging, it spoils, and that is what why it smells so bad. But well, as these bacteria and funguses are actually naturally in peat anyway, so mostly it's not bad for plants. And if the packaging is opened and it gets some air, dries out, maybe gets some sunlight, then also the smell might disappear, and the peat is good to use for plant growth.
Thank you, Helena. So it's possible to get rid of this smell. So that's the good news for us, of course. Ave, I know that you have more questions.
Yes, sometimes when our clients open the peat pails, they find white fungi on the peat. What can it be, and what effect does it have on the peat? Could you please explain?
I have seen that in many times it has said that this white fungus is certain type of fungus, but we have seen that it might be different type of funguses because let's say if a peat is packed in a plastic, it doesn't have a direct sunlight, and many funguses mycelium is white without UV light, so it can be different. But one of like white or pale brown fungi on peat might be trichoderma, which is usually added to the peat as a bioagent or biofungicide, and it actually prevents the attacks from pathogenic microorganisms. but if no trichoderma is added, it can be something different. It can be, for example, Chromelosporum fulvum or Besista ostracoderma, which are called in English cinnamon or peat mold, cinnamon mold or peat mold. It is non-harmful and very common saprophytic fungi found on peat. And they actually, well, saprophytic fungi means that these fungi live on other fungi, and they are in charge of decaying organic matter. So these funguses are not able to live on plants. But also one of the white funguses is Sclerotinia sclerotiorum, and this fungus feels very comfortable in peat. It's cotton-like mycelium, but this fungus is able to affect more than 360 species of plants, including celery, beans, tomatoes, cucumbers, lettuces, and this is harmful for plant growth. So we can never say just by looking at the surface what kind of fungus it is. Sometimes it needs more investigation. Yeah, but there are many white molds, so it can be one or the other. So if there's any trouble with plant growth, maybe it's worth to examine.
So in big picture, the growers shouldn't be alarmed when they find white fungus. This was the knowledge which I received. Now, can you please tell me whether we can determine the type of funguses by their color? There are several beautiful colors that the funguses can be.
I would say that funguses, of course, they vary in color, but the color of the mycelium is affected by natural light. So if without natural light, it can be white. With a natural light, it can be green or brownish. So color by itself is not enough of information about fungus's origin. Still, I think the microscopic analysis or a plating would be needed to determine the type of fungi. We do use micropreparation here to see closer how the mycelium looks. Does it have any like reproductive organs like spores? Just color is not enough. And actually, color of fungi is different also in different mediums, so for different agars.
I see. Very interesting. Now, could you please tell me where do the fungi that growers discover on the growing pots come from?
Mostly, these funguses are a natural environment. The peat is natural environment for these funguses. For example, soil is one of the richest environments you can find. There are a lot of funguses, there are a lot of bacteria. But, well, peat is not as rich, but still has its natural microflora. Usually, it comes naturally from a place where the peat is taken. In rare occasions, if let's say peat is stored in artificial environment, then the storage funguses might be present, and these storage funguses can also infect peat. But molds and bacteria, they can never be totally eliminated from natural environment. So the truth is that the mold spores are regularly part of peat, and it's very normal, and usually it's harmless.
Thank you, Helena. I also personally got a lot of information now, specifically this chemical names and also names of the funguses you mentioned. It's interesting topic. I have one quick question between the very important questions. How many tests actually coming to your laboratory in a year or in a month? Can you give any kind of overview or number, or is it allowed to give you any number?
Yeah, it's allowed. We are actually 90% of our analysis is like state analysis, or we are also responsible of plant health, to analyze plant health samples that are coming from borders and producers. But altogether, we have more than 4,000. Let's say we have 2,500 or until 3,500 samples, but mostly we do many analyses from one sample. So the analyses are like more than 4,000 a year.
Do you sometimes receive requests from foreign companies to analyze foreign peat moss from other countries, or only Estonian samples you analyze?
No, we have some foreign clients as well. And as we are also a national reference laboratory, then if somebody wants to import something into Estonia or export from Estonia, then probably has to order some analysis from us. So yeah, we have foreign samples as well.
Okay, very good. Sorry for having those external questions, but
right.
But it's very interesting topic. So it's interesting to know also for our clients and people who are later on looking at this video podcast. Okay, Mare, I know you also have questions. Go ahead.
I have a question. What is most typical, what concerns most of our customers who have met it, that what to do in case of mold is spreading on surface of the peat substrate, how to inhibit it, how to destroy the mold there. Do you have any advices in this case?
Well, I'm not going to talk about, well, they're different practice, and sometimes it's, well, it's more promoted by the companies who are providing these services or products. For example, fungicides, which we are not going to recommend because, first of all, we don't know the effect, and I don't know. It's as much as I have read that actually the benefits are not so big, so it's better not to use, let's say, poison. If you want to grow maybe something that you are basically eating from the pot, then I wouldn't recommend. There are some technologies how to heat the peat. Well, with the heating, you might destroy the mold, but you destroy also all natural environment. Some of the fungi and some of the bacteria are present because of, they need to be present there. It's a natural process. So I wouldn't recommend that either. And some other chemicals which I don't know about. But what you can do, you can remove the visible part of the fungal growth. Of course, everyone has to think about that all funguses, even the natural funguses, might be might cause some allergic reactions. So if you are going to remove the fungus, you could or should wear a mask and just take off the visible part of fungus, get rid of it, and let the peat dry. You could also aerate or mix it before using. Maybe leave it outside if it's packed, open the package, mix it in a bigger pot, leave it outside for some aeration and for some sunlight, and then usually the sunlight and drying also gets rid of the funguses.
We have two types of customers. Most of them are, as you referred also, the growers of vegetables, which is food. And there, I understand you suggest not to use any special chemicals to remove the fungi. But if they are growers of flowers or other plants using peat substrates, do you recommend to use any chemicals for removing fungi, or still the recommendation not to use any special chemical solutions?
I'm not going to recommend, because first of all, I don't know anything about these chemicals, and every company that is producing these fungicides has its own, let's say, campaigns, and we are not necessarily supporting any of them, because this is not where we have our competence. So we do analyze the funguses and bacteria, but we are not doing any experiments how the fungicides or chemicals work. So I just don't have this experience to say that you should use fungicides.
Thank you, Indrek, also of this question. Mare, you have one more question, or?
Well, I had a question about what are the most typical microorganisms found in peat, but I think we already got this information quite well from you. So this has been answered.
Well,
okay.
Actually, I didn't talk about so much about that. Usually, if there are samples coming in, that we are, of course, concentrating on the harmful funguses for plant growth. But if we see other funguses, then we are usually mentioning it, other funguses that are typical to peat. And these let's say, these typical funguses, if these are found in peat, this usually has no effect on plant growth. So yes, there are many of them, as we have found, and let's say Penicillium, Mortirella, Mucor, Zygorhynchus, Scopulariopsis, Acremonium, Oidiodendron, Rhizopus, also Trichoderma, but Trichoderma, as I said, is usually added to peat as a biocontrol. So if these are found from samples, then this is totally okay. They are peat's natural environment.
Okay, thank you, Helena. Ale, do you have more questions? I know that you are very interested about this topic as well, so you had more questions than usually, and you got also questions from your clients abroad.
Yes, and I think I have one more question, which I hope would solve the problems which the clients could have. So could you please tell me, Helena, whether it is possible to prevent the growth of molds in peat products?
Well, the only thing that naturally can prevent the mold growth is conditions that where this packed peat or also unpacked peat is stored. Not all, but most of the microorganisms, bacteria and funguses included, they like environment where they don't have air supply. They like wet environments and warm environments. So if these conditions can be prevented, then also the growth of mold can be prevented.
Thank you, Helena. Now, question for all our team members. Any one of you have additional insight or any comment of this topic?
Yes, I was just thinking that after I asked the last question, that basically actually when we have to send a product to our clients with containers, then it's not preventable. We don't see the mold here, but as it goes into the container and it's warm climate usually, then it's normal that it has the mold, right?
It can happen. It can happen because the mold is present there naturally, and if it's in conditions where there's not enough aeration or air supply and no sunlight, it's hot, it has, and of course peat has its natural moisture anyway, but if in some conditions it can concentrate in some areas where you can have these like clusters or balls of fungal growth. But yes, if the transportation is done, then it can be mixed and dried out, and it might solve the problem and break the fungal growth.
Mm-hmm. So the air is the key. So it's important to let some air in and.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But is it possible to make like a main conclusion that in most cases we can calm down our customers if they see any fungi that it's not harmful for the plants?
In most cases, yes. They should be worried about plant parasitic fungi if they see fungal growth on the plants. So if it's just on top of the surface of their pot or something, then it can be removed. And but if there are some signs of fungal growth or some stains on plants, then maybe it can be watched more closely where it's coming from. One thing is with a fungal growth though, because the funguses and bacteria, they are also feeding on nutrients that are important for plants. So if it's if the peat has visible fungal growth, then maybe after aeration and drying, some supplements or fertilizers are needed to add, because the microorganisms also eat or also use the same nutrients that are important to plants.
I have one question. Is there some benefit for the plants if there are fungi in the soil? Is it some symbiotic effect or some other beneficial effect for the plants that there in fact is a very active microflora in peat moss?
There is bacteria and funguses. They help to degrade organic matter, and so they make nutrients more absorbable for plants. So they and also fungal mycelium keeps the moisture, so these peats or soils are not going to dry out completely, which is good for plants. Yes, and so it has some benefits. The most, well, that's the task for microorganisms in soil and also peat, to degrade organic matter and so make nutrients available for plants. So they are not entirely bad.
That's a great news for us. Yes, it's always it's never like black and white. I understood that there are always benefits and some disadvantages. Indrek, go ahead.
Yes, I'm not sure if Leila explained, but actually we have some products where we intentionally put some fungi inside. It's trichoderma products. It's not the mainstream product, but there are some clients who actually willing to pay some extra money to get this fungi inside, which makes a good root development. So
yes, we have also heard that trichoderma is one of these funguses that actually can suppress the growth of plant pathogenic organisms, as Phytium, Rhizoctonia, Fusarium, Alternaria, and Botrytis. So it's very beneficial.
especially for long-term plants, as I have understood,
Yes.
like some kind of flowers.
Okay, thank you so much. Do we have more questions from our team? Mare?
Yes, I have one more question. What I wanted to ask is that sometimes, on very rare occasions, we have received from our customers feedback that there is growing a mushroom, a real mushroom inside the substrate. Not the fungi, but the big one. And I was wondering what to say on this occasion. Does it affect the plant growth in case some mushroom occurs, or what do we say then?
Yeah. Well, for example, some of the mushrooms that you can cultivate artificially are grown on peat, champignons, for example. So it can happen, and this is mostly probable that these are natural environment funguses that have been growing and have some mycelium left there, and so they start growing. It shouldn't be harmful for plants. Only problem might be that they are also feeding on the nutrients, but that's it. And if you are breaking the mycelium, then also these funguses are disappearing.
Okay, thank you, Helena. We asked so many important questions what we actually receive every day from clients, and that's why we this year dedicated to make those Mikskaar academies, and we ask people, external experts and scientists, to come and discuss many topics with us, because we are peat producer. Of course, we test regularly, but at the same time, we are working with different institutions, and it's very, very appreciated if they can come and discuss those topics together with us. And we are really appreciating your time, Helena. I know that you're a very busy woman, and you can't maybe always have time. But we truly would like to thank you from our team. And also I will let you know that more than maybe even 50 different countries are watching this video podcast. So basically, it's very necessary information what you gave to us. Thank you so much. And we really hope to have more cooperation with you, and more years to cooperate with your institution. And we wish you great success at your job, and stay healthy yourself. Thank you.
Well, thank you for inviting.